What's up, people? I thought this flower was cute with my red bow today. It's a filter. It's going to be popping on and off, I'm sure. But if you are somebody or know somebody who unfortunately has endured some kind of sexual assault, I did a video before this on how to process sexual assault, and this one is a lot like this. It's going to be heavy, but I'm focusing more on physical and mental abuse this time, how to begin the process and take your power back and stand back up after these things happen to you. First, of course, I'm going to be talking more on how to process once you've already taken the steps and gotten away from your abuser. But I say this with a deep heart because I know that a lot, or deep emotion, because I know a lot of men and women in positions where they are getting hurt are oppressed financially as well. Don't have the means to get out, or you have kids or whatever. These people put hands on their own family members, so you're not dealing with the best of the best here, and it gets grimy and cruel, and they keep people prisoner. These beaters that beat women or children, or women that beat men and their children, they keep the other person prisoner. Over time, that person kind of gets like Stockholmed, and they fear leaving, or they fear what will happen if they speak out, or they fear being on their own in general because they don't have any self-confidence anymore. They don't have the belief in themselves that they can hold down a job and take care of their kids without that person. That so much of, a lot of people focus on the physical hitting because that is the most extreme and dangerous thing about abuse and getting away from it. But we have to acknowledge that these abusers that lay hands on people start with abusing the mind first. If abuser just came up and started abusing the person they were with right from the beginning, there would have never been a relationship. There would have never been room to develop love feelings. They need you to fall in love with them. They need you to get attached. It is very much a game. Even if they don't realize they're playing it, a lot of the times beaters come from people who were beat themselves. That was their love language that was taught to them, and they can't separate the difference. And so many people say, how can you, I have a hard time with this too, how can you grow up being hurt and then turn around and hurt another kid or another person and make them feel how you have felt? Because there is a point in victims where it can dehumanize you. You lose all empathy. You lose all compassion because you yourself as the victim had none. You're beaten to a bloody pulp all the time and nobody helps you. And you hear all day how you're worthless and you're nothing, and you start to believe it. And you just think of pain as a release. So causing pain in other people is a release for your own pain. It's psychological why abuse happens. But I'm telling you, majority of abuse starts with mental abuse. So understanding the victim and understanding yourself as the victim is important to your recovery. It is 100% natural to want to run back to your abuser. I know a lot of people nitpick and say, hey, we help them, we get them out, and I get frustrated helping people too. But every time they call me, I come, because it is a process where they have to understand, or you have to understand in your mind, that I'm gonna be okay on my own. And they are always gonna come rushing back, promising you the world, and for a while they're gonna act like everything's good. Might be a short while, might be a long while, but they always resort back to abuse, especially and particularly if they do not attend counseling for a long period of time. I'm not talking about 6 weeks. If a man or a woman beat you every day of that marriage, you can't expect that person to be fixed in 6 weeks. Abuse does not go away. You have to teach the brain to have empathy, like the actual person who is beating. You have to reteach them empathy for them to even see or care that they're hurting someone else, and that's a whole process within itself. So don't harsh people or harsh yourself too much for wanting to go back. But when you get those urges to go back, this is when you have to stick to that gumption of, I am not going to ever be a victim again. I'm not going to be putting myself in a position where a couple weeks down the road, I'm back cleaning my face up, acting like everything's fine. And at that moment, you were begging in your soul for help, begging for release. Remember those moments, all those moments that you were stricken down on the floor, worrying about what was going to happen to you or if that person was going to stop. How many times you covered bruises or made lies and excuses. You promised yourself you didn't want to do that. You weren't going to go back. If you ever got out, you swore that you would make something of yourself. So keep it. We as men and women who have trauma in our lives, we understand and know the trauma. It's the unknown. It's the world around you, and doing things on your own that's scary. It's paying bills on your own, taking care of the kids on your own, getting yourself to work, or if your car breaks down and having to figure it out. All of this stuff, all of the pressure is all on you, and that alone can feel like abuse in itself. The pressure of being self-reliant all of the sudden, because a lot of these people who are abused, you know, they share homes with people, they share kids. It's not easy to just get up and leave. You need a place to go, and sometimes, you know, a lot of these people, they don't have family and friends to call up at in the middle of the night. They're like, hey, I need a safe place for me and my kids, and they're not gonna have room for like in their budget for a hotel all the time. These people are struggling, and they have to save and scrimp every cent in secret most of the time to get out. So if you have done that, think about all of the miles it took you to get there, and don't think about the things they're saying and promising you, because they're gonna promise you the moon. They're gonna love bomb the shit out of you. They're gonna give you the best lay of your life. They're gonna be all over you, cuddly and affectionate. They're gonna buy you gifts. They're gonna pay your bills. They're gonna paint how much you need them so that you get that dependency again. That everything depends on that dependency they have over you. That's what keeps the person coming back. You and yourself have to mentally heal that wound. You don't need them. You are not nothing. You can amount to great things. It's hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be messy. You know, when you are trying to find a place to stay, maybe you have to stay in a shelter. Anything, I'm telling you, anything is better than being someone else's punching bag. You deserve it. And everything else that you have to endure to get away from that person is temporary. When I left a 15-year relationship, basically with the clothing on my back, I had nothing. I had to rebuild. And, you know, I didn't think I could do it for a while, but as the days passed, as more and more time went on, and every challenge I took and accepted and faced myself, I grew in confidence. It's like when you go away for summer camp for the first time, and you know, you're in those first couple days and you want to come home. You want to come home to where it's comfortable, but you know, you end up waiting it out and having a great summer and making some of the best friends of your life because you stuck it out, because you kept pushing that comfort zone. So the number one way to stand up is to take control back of your life one day at a time. There is no set specific thing to do. You just got to stop going back. You got to stop giving in. Don't accept their phone calls. If they knock on the door, leave them out there knocking on the door for hours. You do not have to answer. You call the popos, you get a restraining order, you keep holding that boundary and you stick to it. They will get bored, they will move on to someone else. Do not cave, because you need to save yourself now. You need to save your life, and you're deserving of far better, and you will thank yourself later.